So this is an introduction to the software components of the Ortet project. I'll be writing this largely from scratch in the Rust programming language, and I'll be using the game engine called Bevy, which is a relatively low-level game engine. So I'm going to be writing a lot of nuts and bolts as this progresses. The only part of this project where I have significant code already written is the sound engine. So I have written a software modular synthesizer over the last several months that I intend to use as both the music and the sound effects engine for this game. And so much of the code for that already exists. I'll be working on it as well and integrating it into the game, but that's an existing code base. The game itself currently exists only in about 20 lines of prototype code. I've written some fairly large Bevy projects in the past, so I have an idea of how that works, although the engine is immature and is developing quickly, so I think it's changed quite a bit since the last time I wrote code. So we'll see how that goes. So this project will be very open source oriented. I'm not going to sort of pitch it as a pure open source project because I can't guarantee that I won't choose to use commercial tools, but I'm not currently using any commercial tools. I run Linux on my laptop. I use Kakon as my editor. I'm writing everything in Rust with almost exclusively tools that are sort of licensed in the standard Rust way of like MIT Apache tool license. I will be releasing my code that I write for this under that license, I expect. I will be releasing the assets I produce under a non-commercial license, so not as free and open as the source code, but they will also be publicly visible. And I will be using primarily open source tools. For instance, I'm doing all of my video production currently in KDE and Live, and similar sort of Unix ecosystem tools. And I'll be writing some pipeline code around asset management that sort of interacts with that ecosystem of tools. So what kind of game am I making? I intend to make a 2D game. It'll be as like the isometric perspective games. Since I'm using real physical photography, the projection distortion is actually a little bit different than ISO, but that's the idea. And I'll be using relatively constrained sets, I expect, mostly to reduce the effect of perspective, and also the extent of the assets, which are already going to be a big project. I expect it to be largely point-and-click driven. So in the style of, you click on a thing in the world and the character walks over to it and interacts with it. That's, I think, a style of game that is probably a little old-fashioned at this point, but it lends itself to the things I'm trying to accomplish. So I think that's how I'll approach this. I don't intend for the game to be a core gamer game. Like, it's not going to have hard puzzles. It's not going to have tight action sequences. It's going to be more about the experience of interacting with the world. So I'm imagining this being like some of the games I played when I grew up. Things like Cosmic Osmo, which was great fun, but not really a game in the modern sense. It's more like a toy. So what I'm making is going to be more like a toy. So some gamers will find it disappointing, but that's how it's going to be. And there'll be some live coding sessions as I work on this, and some discussions of how I'm thinking about the software, and all of that will be up here. And if you're interested in that stuff, I'll make a playlist that's specific to the software and game design oriented aspects of this, and I hope you come and take a look at it.